IUP Council of Trustees and State System Board of Governors, as well as board members and colleagues from the IUP Foundation, the IUP Research Institute, and the IUP Co-op. Thank you all for your participation in these opening of the academic year events and for your ongoing support and partnership with IUP. Over the past 2 weeks, as students have been arriving to campus in the Indiana community and faculty and staff have returned from break and remote work, campus has felt like it's coming to life with a renewed sense of energy. This renewed energy is a reminder of the essential role that we all play in shaping the identity and culture of the campus. IUP's strength lies in the diverse perspectives, talents, and passions that each of us brings to this community. This year, we are welcoming 3 new academic deans to our community. Dr. Steve Ferris, Dean of the Eberly College of Business, started with us in early July. Dr. Ferris is a Western PA native, and we are thrilled to welcome him back home after a rich career as a teacher, scholar, and academic leader. Most recently, he comes to us from Ball State University, where he served as Dean of the College of Business. Dr. Adele Riley is serving as the Interim Dean of the College of Education and Communications. Dr. Riley is an IUP alum, a professor in the Max department with a focus on mathematics educator preparation. She served IUP as the Director of Liberal Studies and the Provost Associate for Academic Programs and Planning. And most recently, Dr. Linan Black was appointed to serve as the Interim Dean of the College of Health and Human Services. Dr. Black is a professor in the Department of Psychology with a focus on educational and school psychology. Dr. Black has served as a Dean's Associate in the College of Education and Communications and the College of Health and Human Services. Welcome to our new deans. Also contributing to that renewed sense of energy are our newly hired and converted tenure-track faculty, temporary faculty, and teaching associates. This week, I had the opportunity to welcome many of them to our university community during our faculty orientation, an event that's been revived after a 4-year hiatus. This was momentous in that it represents critical areas of investment in IUP programs like nursing, computer science, special education, and employment relations and health services administration. I also want to acknowledge the work of the Center for Teaching Excellence, particularly Rachel DeSoto-Jackson, Erin Conlon, and Anne-Marie Schweitzer, who work to welcome and provide professional development support to our new colleagues. Together, management, faculty, and staff, we can create a transformative experience for our students. Let's embrace this renewed energy and harness it to create an environment where our students are the center of our work. We've been working toward our university's strategic goal of exceptional student-centeredness, and now we have a new student success infrastructure to further our efforts in realizing that goal. But it's not only the job of Paula Stossel or Amber Ricchini, our new navigators, or the data leads, and of course a special welcome to all of those new folks as well. But each and every one of us has a critical role to play. Our path of change toward becoming exceptionally student-centered begins with engagement. Engagement is how we will transform IUP. It's the commitment from each of us to roll up our sleeves and actively participate in achieving this vision. When we engage, we move beyond discussing problems to actively solving problems. Engagement empowers us to break down silos and drive progress. To this end, I extend a sincere invitation to each and every member of our community to engage. The coming academic year presents an agenda that is pivotal to IUP's future and rich with opportunities to get involved, share your feedback, insights, and ideas. And I'll highlight a few here. The coming year will be one of self-study as we embark on our reaffirmation of Middle States accreditation. Paula Stossel and Adele Riley are leading our effort, and I'm thrilled that we have more than 80 members of the IUP community who have volunteered to serve on the steering committee and the subcommittees. But there are still opportunities to get involved. Subcommittees may need additional members, and as they do their work, they will be seeking information through survey, interview, and data collection. Your input is encouraged. A parallel form of self-study that will continue and ultimately become a continuous process is review of our academic programs and overall program array. Maintaining the right mix of programs for IUP's mission, regional needs, and size is a critical component of attracting and retaining students and maintaining financial stability. Achieving IUP's strategic goal of exceptional student-centeredness requires that we are able to sustain a set of high-quality, relevant, and in-demand programs at the undergraduate and graduate levels, and to identify strategic areas of growth. The health sciences are one clear area of growth for IUP. You're probably aware that we are taking significant steps toward establishing a College of Osteopathic Medicine at IUP. Throughout the summer, we've been engaged in a search for a founding dean, and thank you to so many who have participated in that process. We have another candidate that will be visiting campus next Tuesday, and it would be wonderful to have you participate in the open forum. There will be additional opportunities to engage in the launch of the College of Medicine with immediate focus on fundraising and establishing clinical partners. We will also be exploring which existing and potentially new academic programs might be complementary to the College of Medicine. This endeavor toward a College of Osteopathic Medicine is among the most transformational academic initiatives in IUP's history, and there is opportunity for anyone interested in becoming more involved. Another major academic planning initiative that has been underway this past year is a re-envisioning of our liberal studies curriculum. Guided by the leadership of Dawn Smith-Sherwood, Liberal Studies Director, a work group of faculty and cross-divisional representatives have been exploring and working to design constructs for a new general education model for IUP. Over the next few weeks, the re-envisioning work group members will be reaching out and inviting our campus community to learn more about their work and to provide input during this conceptual development stage. I want to commend the group for their work thus far. They've invested much of their time this past spring and summer, immersing themselves in literature, working with general education thought leader Paul Honstedt, and envisioning curricular frameworks that support IUP student success. I'm looking forward to high levels of engagement to help create a strong and sustainable liberal studies curriculum for our students. Our academic planning is a driver for our long-range facilities master planning. Our colleagues in administration and finance are collaborating with academic affairs to develop IUP's facilities master plan for the next 10 years. Again, the aim is to ensure that we have the facilities to support our mission and strategic goals. Over the coming months, there will be opportunities to engage in university and community meetings in order to provide input and feedback on the facilities master plan. We at IUP have experienced considerable change over the last few years, and we have an ambitious change agenda in front of us. Consider this: change moves at the speed of trust. I believe we strengthen trust through engagement. So as the campus comes alive with the renewed energy of the opening of the academic year, I hope you are inspired by the possibilities that lie ahead to become more engaged. I wish you the best for a successful and rewarding year ahead. Thank you. And now it is my honor to introduce each of my colleagues on stage as they are invited to offer their remarks. Our first speaker is Dr. Dennis Furkatich, President of the IUP Association of the Pennsylvania State College and University Faculties, and Assistant Professor in the Employment Relations and Health Services Administration Department. There you are. Please join me at the podium.
Thank you. Thank you. Before I get started, as whatever. It's going to be one of those mornings. As ABSCUF president, you usually hear many rumors. Actually, I started one this morning about one of our colleagues on the stage here. But anyway, you always hear these rumors. So when I usually hear a rumor, I usually go right to the source, to the president or the provost, and I asked them, is this a rumor? So I heard a rumor this morning that there was a scuffle outside your office this morning, that the campus police had to come, and as they were dragging David Piper away, as he screamed, let me speak, let the show go on. But I heard he's being held for psychological evaluation, so. But anyway, I just had to get that in there, my old chair and friend, and it'll take a while to forget Dave Piper. So I gotta move this. So I welcome everyone back to another school year on behalf of ABSCUF. I participated in the new faculty orientation earlier this week, and I shared ABSCUF's mission with the group. I was reminded that ABSCUF is not self-serving and works hard to protect many IUP community members. I would like to share ABSCUF's mission with you today, just in case you have never read it or heard it. ABSCUF's mission statement: ABSCUF works on behalf of the student and faculty's interests to provide the highest quality education at the most reasonable cost by ensuring diversity of programs are available, taught by first-class professors and coaches who strive for the pursuit of education and excellence. ABSCUF members are the voice for a quality public education. We do this by working to ensure students receive all the education benefits and opportunities possible from our state universities. Last year, my remarks focused on student-centeredness, and I will continue with an associated theme: shared governance. I feel that it is in the best interest of our students that shared governance is practiced and genuine within our university. What is shared governance, or how is it defined? Shared governance in higher education refers to structure and process through which faculty, professional staff, administration, and governing boards, and sometimes students and staff participate in the development of policies and in decision-making that affect the institution. In a perfect world or healthy relationship, this may be true. Some would say that shared governance is defined by those in power. They decide what is shared and who has the opportunity to participate in the process. A more realistic perspective of what shared governance is that it can be emulated to look sincere or genuine by talking about it, but lacking in implementation. An article Inside Higher Ed stated, the American Association of University Professors and the Association of Governing Boards of Universities and Colleges alike tout shared governance as crucial, as do dozens of books on higher education and countless articles in forums like Inside Higher Ed. Despite the substantial attention shared governance receives in the abstract, though surprisingly little attention has been devoted to how to practically implement at an institution of higher education. I've worked for several universities and other higher ed institutions and have found this to be an issue within many of the institutions. I do not have the power to implement or define the shared governance here at IUP. This is the responsibility of the administration. The administration decides how much they were willing to share and include others in process. I know as the president of IUP, ABSCUF, I do have the power to encourage members of ABSCUF to participate in shared governance that is generally offered to us. I welcome and embrace the empowerment to be included in shared governance. The article I read offered 5 steps to successful shared governance. The 5-step process often is an excellent framework for the practical implementation of the governance, with one key caveat. Faculty members and administration understand that shared governance is just that. 2 groups working together to make decisions, just as couples therapy only works if both members of the couple show up and work together. The following framework only works if faculty and administration come together with the intent of engaging in genuine shared governance. Step 1 would be identifying necessary committees and establish them in clear charges and composition. As we have been told, we need to stop doing the stupid, I was going to interject a word, but I thought it wasn't inappropriate, so I'll just say stuff. Step 2, determine important parameters and considerations. When faculty members and administrations do not understand each other's job and day-to-day realities, they run the risk of generating ideas that are simply impractical. Generate possible solutions, brainstorm possible solutions without evaluating them. You should get all viable ideas on the table before moving forward and save any judgment for later. Step 4, evaluate solutions and choose the best one. Establish a method for evaluation. Decide in a trial period to implement the decision, and if it does work, find another solution. President Driscoll, Provost Lukahans, and college deans, I ask you all today to embrace this concept of shared governance at all levels and to consider how we as faculty can contribute during the decision-making process. Faculty are an asset, not an obstacle or barrier to a better IUP. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Dr. Furkatich. Next, I'm pleased to welcome Ms. Bobby Zapor, President of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees.
Good morning. President Driscoll, Cabinet, members of the IUP community, thanks for inviting me to talk today. I am so glad to represent the dedicated staff of IUP and our chapter of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees this morning. AFSCME is a union that represents those who provide essential services to all Pennsylvanians across the Commonwealth, including at each university and campus in the Pennsylvania state system of higher education. The workers of Local 763 have been inextricably linked to this university's history and are today essential to its future. They're among the very first people on campus each morning and the last to leave each night. Our members assist at every phase of each student's education at IUP. They clean and maintain the very buildings inside of which students study and live. They ensure students' questions and concerns are accurately addressed. They supervise student workers across campus, and they help ensure students have access to the materials they need to succeed at IUP, and that's really just the tip of the iceberg. For about 4 years, this is a place where people come to not only learn, but to live. Our staff is an important part of a community that makes that life at IUP possible. We as staff view IUP through many lenses. Many of us not only work here, but have been educated here or trust IUP with educating our families. I've seen IUP through the lens of a learner. I'm proud that IUP is my undergraduate alma mater. It's a place where people inside and outside the classroom nurtured my academic curiosities, eventually allowing a first-generation working-class college student to attend graduate school. In those years, I first glimpsed IUP through the lens of an alumna, hundreds of miles away, appreciative for the people who had guided me the previous 4 years. Many of those people were staff members across this campus. For the last decade, I've seen IUP through the lens of an employee. Alongside the staff, faculty, and administrators in our libraries, I strive, as does our entire staff campus-wide, to be an impactful and supportive presence in students' lives, to be a colleague who people trust and respect. And as I'm speaking to you now, I see it through the lens of a union officer. I'm so proud to be part of an incredible team, a team of officers, executive board members, stewards, and an engaged rank and file membership, all dedicated to ensuring our staff are treated with dignity in the workplace, that their workplace rights are protected, that their contract is honored. We're all very aware that over the last several years, IUP and PASHE have faced unprecedented challenges and implemented substantial changes as a result. The impact on our staff has been significant. It's been challenging. While we all may not always agree with every decision made, and even as AFSCME continues to examine and address the impact those decisions have had on staff, both locally and statewide, I believe there's one thing on which we can all agree. When faced with adversity, our university staff has shown incredible resiliency, adaptiveness, and dedication. When faced with a global pandemic, Our staff ensured that our students had access to the materials and information they needed. They adapted to new workflows and technology. We helped to support students through contributions to the Emergency Response Fund, and they supported one another during a time of great uncertainty. When in-person classes returned, our staff were there to help ensure we were all returning to a clean and safe environment that felt as normal as was possible. As IUP has changed organizationally, our staff have taken on new roles and responsibilities. Even as many of us dealt with the stress of new duties, were relocated to new departments, and we had to say goodbye to colleagues, our staff kept the needs of students at the forefront. Change is difficult, especially when you care about what you do each day, and to say the very least, our staff absolutely cares about what they do each and every day. More changes are sure to come. The physical footprint of IUP will change. The programs offered to students will be modified. Even as there are uncertainties about what the future holds, I can promise you that our staff will be essential to any future successes at IUP. As IUP paves a path forward to become a truly student-centered institution, one that reacts to and anticipates the needs of students today, the input and inclusion of our university staff and adequate staffing on campus will be essential. A university education is an immersive experience enriched by student interactions with everyone in our campus community. As staff, we interact with students each and every day in myriad ways. We hear their stories, assist with their struggles, celebrate their achievements. The relationships I've been so fortunate enough to build with students over the last decade have impacted me a great deal. When I hear about their successes, I can feel proud in knowing they are where they are, at least in part, because of a learning community that the members of AFSCME Local 763 helped to create. My hope is that as IUP evolves, as we break down silos that divide us, we'll strive to recognize the dedication of our staff and nurture the unique skills and talents everyone brings to the university community. We all have a role to play here in the future success of IUP. It's really gratifying for all of us when we see students succeed, and emotional for all of us when we see students graduate. Maybe most important, especially this past week, because it's been so exciting to see so many new faces on campus. It's really exciting for all of us when we welcome a new group of Hawks each semester. So from your staff and from Local 763 of AFSCME, welcome back IUP.
Thank you, Ms. Zipour. Next, we have Shagufta Huck, an economics honors track and finance double major. Ms. Huck also serves as the student trustee on the IUP Council of Trustees. Welcome.
Good morning, IUP. I'm so glad to see everyone who is present here today, and I hope your summer has been restful. My name is Shagufta Huck. I'm a junior in the Eberly College of Business Honors Program and the Cook Honors College. I'm also double majoring in economics and finance. I am the new student member on the IUP Council of Trustees, and it is with great pleasure and privilege that I stand here today and celebrate the opening of yet another academic year with you all. An important part of my identity is that I am an international student from Bangladesh, a small country in South Asia. I moved to Indiana, PA back in 2018. The first thing that people ask me when they hear that is, so, how'd you find IUP? And it is one of my favorite stories to tell. Back in 2016, my mom was selected as a Fulbright teacher, and she was assigned to IUP for a semester. While it was difficult living away from her for so long, it was also rewarding when she sent us a bunch of pictures and told us a bunch of stories about her wonderful experiences here every day. These experiences are what convinced her and my dad to send my brother and I to the United States for our higher education. While my brother went off to Chicago for his undergrad degree, I came along with my mom, who enrolled in a PhD program here. Fast forward to 4 years later, I am completing my undergrad degree halfway through, and it was a very easy and obvious decision to make. My brother completed his master's degree from IUP, and my mom is in her dissertating stage. So in short, I like to believe that we didn't really find IUP, IUP found us. The impact that this university has had on me so far is incomparable. IUP has given me an amazing cohort from both of my honors programs, all of whom are peers that I can share with and learn from until I graduate. IUP has granted me the support of a wonderful academic advisor who continuously guides me towards internship opportunities. IUP has allowed me to connect with the local community through each of my volunteering experiences. IUP has given me their student-centered resources, such as the career fairs, the IUP days, the free professional headshots, the food pantry, and the Crimson Closet. IUP has earned me some friends from my time in the Student Government Association, all of whom I look up to because of how dedicated they are to improving this place. IUP has introduced me to the most caring coworkers and bosses in the Office of International Education and the Crimson Scholar Circle. IUP has also created a platform for me to share my voice and address any student concerns. IUP has given me the opportunity to work directly with its administrators, who I know work relentlessly to improve IUP. That being said, I would consider myself extremely lucky if I could give back to IUP even half of what it's given me. And while I could go on about all the amazing memories and connections that I have gotten from IUP, I would also much rather not keep you here all day. That being said, I would like to end with this today. There are so many IUP students who have a story similar to mine, students who have found a second home in this place, students who cannot imagine being anywhere other than IUP. So I hope together we can remind those students why they chose IUP and why they stayed. Thank you.
Shagufta, thank you. Your story and your family stories are reminders. They are an inspiration to all of us as we begin this new academic year together. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brian Seal, the chair of IUP's University Senate and associate professor. Yes. My script says assistant, but I know that you've been promoted. Associate professor in the Department of Safety Science. Dr. Seal.
Thank you. Thank you, Provost Luke Hans. Good morning, President Driscoll and our council trustees, and welcome IUP. It's a little undaunting, and to follow the act of my previous speaker, I have a tough road to go here. My name is Brian Seal. Some of you know me. I know I'm a fairly unknown commodity throughout the university. I teach in Safety Sciences Department, where IUP hosts the oldest undergraduate program in safety sciences, and I would say in the world, because it really didn't exist anywhere until it existed here in the United States. So we have the oldest, we have that honor here. I've taught there for just 5 years, so last year was a big year for me. I was granted tenure and promotion, as Dr. Luca Hans alluded to, so phew, that's all over with, but thank you for selecting me. However, my career has been spent primarily outside of academia. As you can tell from the gray hair and the receding or retreating hairline, I'm not new, I'm not a young person. I am a retired Navy. I've spent time in the federal government, which not in the penitentiary, but in the federal government and the private sector, of which I still consult actively in addition to teaching here. I'm here today as your newly elected chair of the University Senate. The University Senate, so there's some overlap. So we really didn't write our talks together, but there's a theme going on here as the professor in me comes out. University Senate is shared governance of IUP. It is where students, faculty, staff, and the administration work together to move IUP forward. The Senate is an excellent way for all voices to be heard to advise the administration and the Council of Trustees when making decisions so that all aspects can be understood. However, the Senate relies on IUP community's willingness to step forward and volunteer your very limited time. In short, the Senate needs you. College is a time for students to practice becoming citizens. Being a military guy, many young folks go into the military and they have a couple of years in the military where it helps them learn how to be citizens. The university has that same part to play. Whether they're a traditional student coming straight from high school, a military veteran using their GI benefits to pursue their goal, as all 3 of my children have done, or a returning adult looking to further their career or start a new chapter. The university, IUP, gives them all opportunities to succeed and fail, as in the real world. I'm not saying they will fail. But remember, you are here, but they may not always get that grade they hope for. I think we all can relate to that. But remember, we're here to teach. We must challenge the students and routinely pull them out of their comfort zone. As I went through my PhD a few years back, it definitely pulled me out of my comfort zone. As I reflected on when I met with Dr. Driscoll becoming the Senate chair, I was like, yeah, it definitely pulled me out of my comfort zone. But the key to their success is communication. Please encourage your students to talk to you. Email's fine, but we are all here in flesh and blood. So get them to come into your office. Also, IUP has an abundance of resources for them, such as the library. I love walking through the library. The smell of the books just makes me feel like I'm in academia. The Writing Center, which without their help, I don't think I would have gotten through my dissertation. Sometimes people ask, is English really your primary language? And then various math, chemistry, and physics tutors. Being in the safety sciences, I rely on my students to come prepared with those prerequisites of biology, chemistry, mathematics. So I need them to know those skills so that I can employ them in my area, in my discipline with them. So encourage them to seek all these resources out. Lastly, there are many student organizations for our students to participate in. It's probably easy, but encourage your students to make a friend. I teach freshmen this semester. Usually I teach teach juniors and seniors, but I'm teaching a class which is all first semester, brand new to the university, in addition to my other class, which is seniors. So I have kind of the opposite spectrum there. But the first thing I have them do is introduce themselves to the person sitting next to them and take their name and a contact information. So hopefully that will develop a friendship, as my esteemed colleague had said, that'll last them a lifetime, okay? Get them to volunteer. So ultimately, the university needs them to engage. In closing, consider this quote from Kofi Annan, the 7th General Secretary of the United Nations. If our hopes of building a better and safer world are to become more than wishful thinking, we need the engagement of volunteers more than ever. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you around campus. I always wanted to say that.
Thank you, Dr. Seal, for your words and for stepping up to serve as our University Senate Chair. And now it is my honor, my pleasure, to introduce our IUP President, Michael Driscoll.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. I am so glad to see you today. I think we've all said something like that. After 2 eye surgeries this summer and another one to come, I am really glad to see you today. Thank you for coming out to help us begin IUP's 149th school year. As we gather this morning, higher education is facing its most challenging times in at least 50 years. And as you well know, IUP is facing its most challenging times in over a century. But it's not unprecedented territory for our great university. In IUP's history, there were several times when myriad challenges nearly destroyed us. But if you look at that same history, you'll see that we adapted, we survived, and then we thrived. Today, we have the opportunity to write the next chapter of our history as a story of resilience and teamwork that led to brighter days. There's more hard work ahead, but I am excited by the possibilities. We have a good plan, and we need every one of us to pitch in and do our share. I believe we can do this. With your help, we will do this. We all need to be on the same page, or row in the same direction, or get on the same bus, or whatever idiom you like. We need all of you and your ingenuity if we are to build an agile university that can rise to the opportunities and challenges we face. On April 19th, 2022, I talked about the future of IUP. I said we could no longer see students as a one-size-fits-all group from similar backgrounds with similar needs seeking the same thing delivered the same way. Instead, we must see our students as unique individuals who we must help succeed no matter what their needs. So instead of this, we need to view our students like this. No matter your role in the university, this applies to you. When it comes to supporting our students, the worst thing any of us can say is, "That's not my job." It is my job, and it is your job. Our plan has 5 main strategies, all focused on better serving students, today's students and the new ones to come. The first thing we must do, and the most important of these 5 items, is to become so adept at student-centeredness that we keep every student who comes to IUP. The undeniable truth is that our downward enrollment trajectory would not have been as steep if we were better at retention. Until we began addressing this issue a few years ago, we seemed to not mind that 3 out of 10 first-year undergraduate students didn't come back for their second year. This year, we are expecting an increase in our class of first-year students. But if our retention and persistence rates do not improve, our enrollment will not either. We simply cannot lose students at such an alarming rate. We must support them in every step along their IUP journey. This does not mean, Dr. Seal, that we should not challenge our students to achieve great things. It means we need to clear obstacles that hold back so many students, like cost of attendance and food insecurity and arcane bureaucratic processes. Then they can focus on the challenges, academic and otherwise, that will help them grow, meet our standards, and achieve their goals. Some of you may remember Biosphere 2. It's a 3-acre enclosure in the Arizona desert with a controlled environment for studying the growth of plants and animals. In this perfect environment, trees grew quicker than in the outside world, but they soon collapsed under their own weight. The explanation was very simple. In the biosphere, there was no wind. Wind causes trees to sway back and forth. To adapt and survive, a tree's fibers grow strong, giving it the ability to withstand the movement. How does this apply to IUP? College is meant to challenge students. It did when we were students. It always will. We all want our students to thrive so they can stand tall and strong. They need to face constructive challenges along the way, weathering them like a tree in the wind and benefiting their long-term growth. That's what a college education is all about. Even the mightiest of oaks, at one point, needed a supporting stake until it could stand alone. The second thing we must do is grow our market share in traditional markets. To do that, we must be exceptional in our recruiting and marketing. We must offer in-demand, high-quality programs and provide them with adequate resources. And we must do this at an affordable price. The third item is to supplement our enrollment through other student groups outside of our core audiences. We need to regrow international enrollment. Last year we had 403 international students. 10 years ago we had 863. Economics, politics, and the COVID-19 pandemic have had a lot to do with the decline. But we must bring in more students from all over the world who will add to our culture and our community. We must add students to dual enrollment and degree completion programs. We must repackage our existing expertise in new ways to meet today's students' needs. An example of attracting new students would be our College of Osteopathic Medicine. It's a daunting but achievable proposition, and the long-term payoff would be astounding, transforming rural health care while boosting IUP's regional and national reputation and finances. Fourth, we must grow IUP's reputation via academic quality, student-centeredness, return on investment, and research impact. And that College of Medicine will also help. Lastly, we will find alternative revenue streams to support our work. We cannot rely on tuition and appropriations alone. So we must use our skills and talents to increase revenue with more sponsored research activity, more philanthropic gifts, and any other possible avenue. I believe these 5 strategies will shape the future of IUP. We must work together to implement them. Our plan will help us sail smartly across today's rough seas. IUP is not sailing alone. Across the country, higher education is struggling. Enrollments are down, budgets are not balanced, and the value of a college degree is being universally questioned rather than universally celebrated. Here are some hard truths that make our plan necessary. First, our state continues to underfund public higher education, which undermines the mission of the state system to provide high-quality education at the lowest possible cost. In 2022, Pennsylvania ranked 49th out of 50 states in funding for public higher education per full-time student. 11 states spend more than double what Pennsylvania does. This comes at a time when a recent national poll showed that 34% of young adults who aren't enrolled in college said it's because they couldn't afford it. The number of high school graduates in Pennsylvania this year dropped slightly from 2022, but there is a dramatic drop looming ahead. While the number of fish in the pond will be shrinking, there is a growing number of lines dropped in the water to attract those fish. High school graduates have nearly 300 options for colleges, universities, and trade schools in Pennsylvania. Only 3 states have more. With many of our surrounding states, including Ohio and West Virginia, suffering from population decline, schools from those states have crossed the border at increasing frequency and dropped their lines in our pond. And the lack of funding mixed with increased competition couldn't come at a worse time. In 2015, 57% of Americans said they had a lot of confidence in higher education. In 2018, it was 48%. Today, 36%. According to a 2021 study, 30% of 18 to 24-year-olds who are not enrolled in college view higher education as, quote, a waste of money. Put that all together. Despite a 7.2 increase in the number of high school students across the United States from 2010 to 2020, there was a 4.6% drop in the number of college students. Those are the main external forces that turn the water around us so turbulent. We cannot change them. We must navigate through them, following our plan. Our waters have been rough for a while. Rumors of IUP's looming integration or demise are just not true, but there are dark clouds over us. Our enrollment has indeed dropped significantly. That's not unique to IUP. In 2010, nearly 120,000 students were enrolled in state system schools. Last year, it was around 84,000. Across the country, it's no different. Last year, there were almost 2 million fewer college students in the United States than there were in 2017. A drop in enrollment means a drop in revenue, so we had to cut our spending. About 70% of our expenses are employee salaries and benefits. So we made the difficult but understandable decisions to reduce our workforce. Those decisions have resulted in some good people losing their jobs. And I know it has caused grief for the past and stress about the future. The August 1 deadline to inform the faculty union of retrenchment plans this school year came and went without notification from me. We do need to make some additional adjustments in our faculty workforce, but not at the scale that requires retrenchment. We need to make some more significant reductions in staff and administration. There will be open positions we will not fill, and some other savings should come through the departure of employees in position to retire. But that may not be enough, and some more difficult moves will likely have to be made. Change will be a constant in the world, and IUP must move with greater agility in response. If you look around, you'll see that many of you are already doing great things to help. Our new student success infrastructure is up and running with 15 new staffers in position to help every student weather the winds that blow at them. These navigators will serve as proactive and steady support for any facet of student life, which should ease some of the burden on faculty and staff and help improve retention. Some people have questioned if the navigators are necessary. I say they are. Let me share a story to illustrate why. In 2006, Bryant Pinder came to IUP from Philadelphia, unprepared for what was ahead of him. He quickly fell behind, with his GPA dropping every semester. He felt alone and lost. Nobody knew he needed help, and his isolation worsened the more he struggled. After a year and a half of drifting aimlessly, Bryant was dismissed with a 0.72 GPA. Many students who fail in college never try to come back. But after working 3 jobs for a few years, Bryant decided in 2014 that he would try again. He contacted IUP and enrolled in our Fresh Start program. Bryant was connected with Dr. David Ferguson, who served as the mentor Bryant couldn't find his first time around. Dr. Ferguson helped Bryant find an academic program in which he felt comfortable. Dr. Ferguson and some of Bryant's faculty members teamed up to make a plan just for him. This time, Bryant felt like he was prepared to succeed. Bryant soon found he did belong here, and in 2017, he graduated from IUP. This summer, Bryant was hired as a navigator. In this role, he will focus on providing the kind of care and guidance he needed but did not get when he first came to IUP. Imagine how Bryant's life would have been impacted had there been someone who threw him a life raft when he was struggling. Imagine how many other students we have lost over the years because nobody knew they were having a tough time. Imagine where we would be today if 3 out of 10 first-year students didn't give up. Right now, I'd ask Bryant and David to stand and be recognized. Thank you. With the navigators in place, we have the support system that will ensure every student has the tools to succeed. Their work, combined with our collective drive to help students, should result in that increased retention and persistence. And that's why I say we need the navigators. Right now, I'd like to ask all the navigators who are here to stand and be welcomed to their positions at IUP. Stand up. Thank you. Here are a couple of other examples. As the director of the IUP Marching Band, Dr. Zach Cheever has done a remarkable job of bringing pride and prestige back to the legend. And he's been here for only about a year. Dr. Cheever has actively recruited students to come to IUP and join the band. Maybe you have seen some of the signing ceremony photos posted on social media that show the excitement and pride that comes when the marching band gets a new member. When Dr. Cheever came to IUP last summer, the marching band had 88 members. This fall, it has 165. Zach, you're here somewhere. Stand and be recognized. Thank you. Dr. Prashant Bharadwaj from the Eberly College of Business began a program last year that brought students from Kenya to IUP to enroll in some of our graduate programs. This program gives students an affordable opportunity that they otherwise may not have had, creating a pipeline of students who we hope to benefit from for many more years. The first class of students came last fall, and many more are expected this year. Prashant, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Students are our lifeblood, and their success is paramount to our future. These are just a few great examples of how we can help grow IUP enrollment, which in turn will help us get to solid ground. Our country is divided, and the rest of the world is unstable. We're still emerging from a pandemic that took the lives of millions of people. Inflation is high, and family budgets are being strained. Our university, along with many others, is struggling financially because of these external forces. Also, we need a time machine. It would be nice to go back about 20 years to adjust decisions that made sense then, but are causing problems now. Well, this is an accurate depiction of IUP in 2023. It's also an accurate picture of where we stood a little more than 100 years ago. Following World War I and the influenza pandemic in 1918, things at Indiana State Normal School were not looking good. Enrollment was down significantly. In the previous decade, the school had borrowed heavily to construct new buildings, and the debt was now due. Things were made worse because rampant inflation forced families to make tough decisions about their future. But we recovered. We pitched in and we worked together, knowing better days were ahead if we just kept reaching for the horizon. That's what we are called to do today. We must have faith that we are on the right path. We must believe that the priorities we have will pay off. We must move confidently toward our future, equipped with the knowledge that we have done this before and that we will do this again. Maybe a better way to put it is to look to the song long associated with the IUP marching band. I am not Dr. Piper, so I'm not going to sing, but the third verse of Amazing Grace contains these 24 powerful words. Through many dangers, toils, and snares I have already come. 'Tis grace has brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. We must adapt so we can survive, and then we can thrive. We have the plan, we have the skill, we have the people. Our future is now. I may not be Dr. Piper, but I am the president, and I can do this to close out today's program. Here is Dr. Zach Cheever and the Beast of the East, the legend, the bigger and better IUP Marching Band.
That was very powerful. Thank you, Dr. Cheever, and thank you to the IUP Marching Band. I also want to thank our University Advancement Events and Fisher Auditorium staff for facilitating this morning's meeting, and a special thanks to all of you for attending this event. I know this is the beginning of a very busy day, but I do hope that you will take time to join in community and fellowship with the picnic in the Oak Grove beginning at 11:30 this afternoon. This concludes our program. Thank you.